Lately, I've had a lot of new Destiny players comment on my videos and come by the stream recently, which makes me really happy. So this one is for you guys. Heads up everyone, my name is SentinelGray and welcome to the channel. Since there have been a few you here that have been jumping into Destiny for the first time, it lights a fire in me to do a video idea that I've had for a while now. Simple, exotic pairings that literally anyone in the game can do if you have full access to the game and these items. Now, I'm not going to get into certain mods that you'll want or need or any specific stats that you'll want, because when starting out as a new player, you probably don't have access to a lot of ways to either bump up your stats or actually any of the old mods prior to this season. However, I will tell you this. All these exotic combos I give work perfectly well by themselves. However, if you were to add mods or high stat numbers down the road, you'll be able to crank these pairings up all the way to 11, so don't worry. And if you're a Destiny vet watching this video and you scratch your head at any point during it saying, well, duh, or this build sucks, dude, this isn't for you. Go watch my video on like the lightning fast Warlock build if you want something with more meat. This is for new people. Get lost with your comments. Bye-bye. Now I want to start off with the most played class in the game and work down from there, which means we're starting with Hunters. I'll begin with a super important exotic that you can use on literally anything this game throws at you. Celestial Nighthawk. If you pair this with Bottom Tree Gunslinger, you convert your 3 golden gunshots into 1, dealing 6 times as much damage on a critical hit. This will help you delete practically anything in the game with just one shot, so if you've played 007 GoldenEye before, it's practically the same thing. This combo will take you far in DPS stages for bosses no matter where you are, whether it be strikes or raids. A key thing to remember though is to not use this with top or middle tree gunslinger, since Nighthawk doesn't affect those 2 trees. Next we have Ophidia Spaith, the exotic hunter chest piece. This exotic gives you another throwing knife charge when you use any of the gunslinger subclass trees. And although this works for each of the 3 trees, if you end up using this with the middle tree gunslinger, you'll be able to throw out 2 fans of knives before waiting for your cooldown. Add in the ability that middle tree already has in it, and the more you burn enemies with that fan of knives, the faster you get your melee charge back. As if that isn't enough, if you have the Monte Carlo exotic auto rifle, you can use that to get your melee energy back as you deal damage with the gun. So if you use Monty, Ophidia Spaith, and Middle Tree Gunslinger, you'll be able to tackle any number of trash mobs that the game can put in front of you, period. After that, we have an item that is highly used in PvP but can also be used in PvE as well, Dragon Shadow. With this chest piece, you'll be able to have all your weapons reloaded when you use your dodge class ability. And not only that, but after you dodge, you have increased movement speed and weapon handling. This type of exotic is extremely useful when either trying to get out of danger or when having weapons that take forever to reload. For example, shotguns and machine guns can have some of the longest reload times in the game, but with Dragon Shadow, they can all be reloaded in an instant. Finally, for the hunter, we have Orpheus Rigs. These boots do one of 2 things for you depending on which Night Stalker tree you are on. For top tree Night Stalker, the more enemies you tether with your shadow shot, the more ability energy you get back, meaning you could have half of your super ability back right after using it if you tether enough enemies. For bottom tree, Orpheus Rigs provides your quiver with more shots, allowing you to get off like around 8 or 9, which could lead to some higher damage potential against groups of tough yellow bar enemies that the game can sometimes throw at you. Let's move on to Warlocks. Nezarec Sin is an exotic warlock helmet that you can use with any of the Voidwalker subclass trees and a Void energy weapon. Using Nezarec Sin, you'll be getting ability energy back for every single Void kill you get, and since that isn't exclusive to Void ability kills, you can use any weapon that does Void damage. This type of loadout works extremely well with Bottom Tree Voidwalker. Since you could use its Devour ability to keep giving yourself health on kills, you can stay healthy and have more abilities to use as you fight, making you practically immortal to, some of the smaller trash mobs of the game. This build is 100% easy mode and probably the easiest that Destiny can get on a normal playing basis. Next one is a bit of a niche exotic, but I promise it works, and it's fun as hell to use if you like fighting in close quarters. So the Vesper of Radius is an exotic that a lot of people pass up on because outside of this one thing, it doesn't have a lot of practical use. If you pair this exotic along with the Shade Binder, Warlock subclass, with the Frost Pulse aspect, you can shatter any enemy remotely near you. To explain what happens, Frost Pulse is an aspect that freezes all enemies around a Warlock who uses their Rift class ability while they're using the Shade Binder subclass. Vesper of Radius then kicks in afterwards, sending out an electric pulse that instantly shatters those frozen enemies. Granted, like I said, it is very niche, but with this combo, you can have all three of your normal abilities become capable of being offensive to anything around you. I use it all the time. This next exotic might be a little bit difficult for some new players to get for this current season, but I don't think that doesn't rule out these boots. And honestly, if there's anything for you to shoot for, to try and get or achieve or whatever, these boots are definitely it. Boots of the Assembler allows you to produce Seekers that either heal or buff your allies that are anything around 60 or so meters from you. The healing or buff from this is dependent on whether you have your healing or empowering rift equipped. Now, the long and short of these boots is that they work in tandem with Middle Tree Dawnblade and the exotic Hand Cannon Lumina. I have a whole video already I did about this build, so if you want to see it, I'll have a link for it down below. But if you're a new player and have these boots, you will have access to literally the best support build in the entire game. Finally, for the Warlocks, I want to talk about Geomag Stabilizers. This is an easy use exotic with huge damage potential. While using Middle Tree Stormcaller, when your super is about like 80% full, you can sprint and regain the last 20% in like 3 seconds. It's what the boots do. Luckily, that's not the only thing that these are good for. Geomags also increases how long you can use the Chaos Reach super based on the damage you deal. The more damage you deal, the longer you can use it, meaning that if an enemy is debuffed and you deal even more damage then, it lasts for even longer. This is the absolute most DPS Warlocks can do to bosses in raids and strikes, very similar to the Hunter's Celestial Nighthawk. So this Geomag Chaos Reach combo will be able to carry you through any damage phase you come across in the entire game. Finally, a few exotic combos for Titans. First is the helmet, the Insurmountable Skull Fort. With the Skull Fort, when you get a kill with an arc melee ability, it not only immediately triggers health regeneration, but also gives you your melee ability charge back. Now, since this only works with arc abilities, you'll have to be using this with the Striker subclass, and the most use you'll probably get out of this is either going to be top or bottom tree. With this, you'll be able to stay up close and personal with a ton of enemies, and if you use this with the bottom tree striker, you'll be able to reload your equipped weapons after every single kill. Another exotic that'll work well in a lot of close hand-to-hand engagements is the ACD0 feedback fences. I just call them the feedback fences for short. Granted, the use for this exotic is a little niche, but if you pair it with the Sentinel Titan Middle Tree, you'll be able to clear an area around you practically at all times. The feedback fences let out an arc pulse of energy when an enemy melees you. Because of this, you can place a void detonator on an enemy with the melee ability that you have for Middle Tree Sentinel, and have the arc pulse trigger the detonator to explode, not only causing damage and placing detonators on other enemies, but also giving you back ability energy and health due to the Sentinel Titan's Middle Tree. Like I said, it's a little niche, but there was a time where I ran this constantly. You can definitely make it work for you. Next up is the Hollow Fire Heart exotic chest piece. This exotic is focused around you not using your super in exchange for having faster ability regen for everything else. While your super is fully charged, the cooldown on your grenade and melee abilities are cut almost in half. While this does work for literally all the Sunbreaker trees, I find it to be the most useful on bottom tree Sunbreaker, since out of all the other trees, it can work well with getting your abilities back faster. Using bottom tree Sunbreaker provides you with bonus energy and regen when you walk through the sunspots that you can create while using the subclass. This can be used to keep you healthy and make your abilities more available to you without too much of a thought. The last exotic for the Titan I want to talk about will work with literally any subclass, so no matter what you like to run, this is going to help you. When using the Heart of Inmost Light, once you use one of your abilities, whether it be your grenade, melee, or barrier, it empowers the other abilities, leading to faster regen times. Empowerment also makes your melee and grenade abilities cause more damage while giving your barrier more health as well. Mainly, I use this with Middletree Sentinel, but like I said before, this exotic can work with literally any subclass. It is extremely useful. Now, granted, I know all of those options I gave you are extremely simple, and like I said before, they're supposed to be that way. If you're beginning to get into Destiny for the first time, I feel it's the best to have a few wombo combos to fall back on in case something isn't working for you at a particular moment in time. These are all tried and true things that will start to be the base of you making builds. Down the road, these exotics may change if Bungie decides it's necessary, so make sure they have the same effect as they do in this video before you start using them. It doesn't happen often, but you should be aware that it can happen. Exotics have either gotten juiced up or absolutely neutered in the past, so be on the lookout. But that is going to be it for me for today, and before I go, I wanted to put this out there, hopefully in the ether, hopefully somebody picks up on this. If you are a new player and you've been watching this video, please tell me if there's something that the game doesn't cover and that I haven't covered already that you might like explained. I mean, it's been a while since I started Destiny, and I could be blind to a few things that I do on a normal basis that new players have no idea on what to do. So if I don't have a video on it and you think it needs covered or you think you'd like it explained or whatever, please feel free to either tell me down in the comments below or reach out to me on social media. Please just let me know. I love to make these guides, and I want to continue making more. I want to continue helping people. But if you would do the normal things like the video and subscribe if you want to see more, I would highly appreciate that. And if you like live content, I stream every Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over on Twitch. I will have a link for that down in the description box below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I will see you all next time, and remember, keep your heads up and be kind to each other. Bye now.